Weeks to Wealth, Wealth Principle 32 today is a powerful principle that I may have completely changed my entire life based on this one principle. So if your pens are ready, if your minds are prepared, if you're ready to take your games to the next level, let's dive into Wealth Principle 32, which is the point is not to work, it's to generate income. This is more than just an educational lesson. This is a life principle. This is something that when sustained in your mind, you never have to work again. You get to do things you enjoy. Now, we've been journeying through this wealth principle journey for the last 32 weeks. In fact, it's been shorter than that because we're aiming to get to Wealth Principle 52 at this year's 100 Millionaire Summit, which means we've had to compress some wealth principles into 2 lessons. This week is not one of those. The point is not to work, it's to generate income is so important and such a core principle to our community that we're going to spend all lesson on this one particular principle. It hits multiple aspects of your life. It hits your wealth, your relationships, and your body. But today we're just going to focus on your wealth. We're going to focus on the difference between being rich and between being wealthy. We're going to dive into the concepts that will help you identify whether this is just making me rich, just giving me income right now, or is this something that will create lasting, everlasting wealth, legacy wealth for myself, for my family that's going to keep going on. Show of hands if you're still committed to doubling your income and doubling your net worth. Net worth. That was a Freudian slip. Your network is your net worth. The more people you have that have a higher net worth, the more likely you will be to be successful. Surround yourself with players and you'll become a player. One of the assets that I learned too late in life was the value of human relationships. But it is true that if you acquire a few people, a few really good assets, that they can generate income for you beyond what you're capable of doing right now. Show of hands if you've ever worked for a person who is making a ton of money off of you. You ever worked for a job or a corporation? Yet if you've ever spent hours and they paid you hourly, there was a good chance they were making something off of the general job that you did. And that is because money is made when delivering value. But a person can make money when they work hourly. Now, this hourly wage thing, it's something that we've all tried at some level. Show of hands if you've worked hourly for another human being at some level, get paid hourly. Yes. Even if it was early on in your career and you just got into entrepreneurship. This hourly thing, it runs out after somewhere around, let's call it 14 hours. There's very few people I know who can sustain a 14-hour shift even. Most people stop around 8 to 10 hours. Some of you are hustlers, know what that 14-hour shift is like. We actually see Greg LeBlanc on the call right now, who he knows what a double shift looks like, working full 16 hours. He works at a pretty intense job. So, but it's unsustainable. And after a little while, you realize the only way to increase income if you're working hourly is to increase the hourly rate. Show of hands, you've gotten a raise before. You've worked the hourly rate strategy, and it seems good for a little while. But then after a few weeks, months, years of this, some of us, for me, I was locked into this trap of working hourly raises for 10 years before I woke up and realized nothing is changing. Nothing is changing. And there's something we do when you sign up for the mentorship. We don't do it as much as we used to. Maybe we'll come back to it. But when we used to sign up for the mentorship, we'd give you a roadmap call. And in this roadmap call, I'd walk you through the blueprints. Show of hands if you've read The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. That was one of the books, required foundational 5 from the mentorship program. And in that book, it talks about the mental blueprint. And the blueprint is like a thermostat. So if it gets really hot in a house, the thermostat will kick on and it'll bring the temperature back down. And if it gets really cold in a house, the thermostat will kick on and it'll bring the temperature right back to where it belongs, right to 72 or whatever you have it in your house. It's the same way with your finances. When I was 18 years old, I was making $22,000 a year. When I was 19 years old, I was making $24,000 a year. And then I became 20 years old and I started making $40,000 a year. And then from the age of 20 to 28, I made $40,000 a year every single year. Show of hands who recognize something changed in my blueprint. It just kept keeping me there. Inflation went up. Things cost more every single year. They kept going up, kept going up. My income stayed exactly the same. And that awareness that it was not changing only happened emotionally when I would go to the bank and try to, when I go to the store and try to buy something, then I'd be like, oh man, like money doesn't go as far as it used to. Show of hands, remember gas prices going up. Like there's a point where I remember that too. Like I don't know what gas prices are today. It doesn't matter to me. I don't even look at the number. I don't care which gas station it is, but there was a point where that mattered to me. And it started mattering to me more and more and more. As I got to 28 years old, I started realizing like, oh my God, like I'm only earning $40,000, but before 40,000 seemed like a lot. Went from 24,000 to 40,000. Show of hands, you understand, was nearly double. It seemed like a lot of money to me. And I realized I got to change what I'm doing, because in the past I would switch my job and I get a new job and I would get a new pay raise. So I did that. I switched. I started working for other companies. And has anybody ever done this? We call it company hacking, or like income hacking, where you just go and work for somebody else. So I was contracting. I worked for these other companies. I worked for Johnson & Johnson. Then I worked for Computer Associates. And then I worked for Coca-Cola. I was a data analyst. And I kept moving up and I kept changing my titles, because this is how it works. If you change your title to something that's more attractive, to the new title that pays more, then all the experience that you had stacks on top of itself. Show of hands if you ever done that. We call that resume hacking. So these were skills that I learned. So suddenly I landed a $75,000 a year job. And again, I was like, oh my God, I'm crushing it in life. And then I went through a divorce and I quit my job because I didn't, I wanted to work on the relationship. And then I went and I got my real estate license because I just wanted to get into real estate. And I went through all these emotional things that made me only earn $17,000 the next year. And for some of you, you may be thinking, wow, damn, his life went terrible. Like he just went through a lot of stuff, right? Emotional things that just totally, of course he quit his job because he was going through all this emotional stuff. That's not what happened. The truth was I was a $40,000 a year person who earned $75,000, which means I had to fuck my life up to go down to $17,000 to even it out. So fans, if you do that math in your head, you recognize what happened. The next year I made $115,000 because I had to overcompensate for the amount that I'd lost, and I'd swung up. Then I learned something that year that I'd wish I'd learned sooner. And it was that the point is not to work, it's to generate income. And we're going to go into that today, like what that story, what that lesson was. Show of hands if this is valuable to you. If you have been on the treadmill and you'd like to change some of that, what happened in that second phase of my life, because that first phase was not good, right? The same money, same problems, just inflation was getting worse. Everything was just like crunching down on me because I wasn't growing. That wasn't a good part of my life. The next phase was scary. It was a transition phase. It was a phase where I was trying to learn. I was trying to make money, but I just had all of these emotional baggages wrapped around this $40,000 a year income. It was just very connected. Because in society, by the way, you hang out with the people who earn what you earn. So as I was earning more, I was changing my friends. My friends couldn't get along with me anymore. So it is super emotional. So if you're like, oh no, like that's not what stops me, trust me, it is, because it's interconnected with everything you do. We live in an economic world where your relationships are based on how much you bring in. So fans, if you can imagine this to be true, maybe we don't logically see it, all like emotionally see it, but maybe logically we can grasp that maybe these things are connected. You start going on more vacations, your friends are like, oh, he's always on vacations. It makes them feel insecure. So they don't even respond to you anymore when you talk about a vacation. So you start talking less. So as you're going through these processes, I was doing this as well. I started recognizing there was one thing that would change my income permanently, regardless of my time. And it was acquisition of real estate. If I gathered an asset that cash flowed for me, my first one wasn't a huge win, but I made an extra $1,000 a month. My first cash flowing property was a 3-family in Fall River. I bought it for $157,000 using an FHA loan, owner occupied. So I only put $10,000 down, and I bought that, and it was pulling in an extra $1,000 a month. And that $1,000 added additionally at the end of the year, $12,000 to my income. But what it did was changed my tax strategy. It gave me depreciation. It gave me this, like basically $5,000 that I had earned that year from my normal job didn't count, it got wiped out. And then my normal job at that year was real estate. So I went and I earned a sweet $90,000 in that year from real estate. And I also bought a second property that same year. I bought these back to back, 6 months apart. And that second property was bringing in $1,100 a month. It was a 2-family, but it was a huge 2-family. So even though it was less units, it was big enough. And the mortgage, by the way, I bought it for $109,000. I was renting those units out for $1,100 each. It was just, this was like the Wild West of real estate. I was investing and things were working out. This was back in 2015, 16. And this was that time period where I was learning the point is not to work, to generate income. So now these two assets were pulling in $25,000 a year cash flow. And I earned $90,000 as a salesperson because I was in real estate and the hustle was real. And I did that in 3 months. In 3 months, the first month was June. I earned $15,000 commission. The second month was July. I earned a $22,000 commission. And then the fourth month was August. I earned a $24,000 commission. So in 3 months, I made most of my income. In fact, in 2 months, I'd earned more than I used to earn in a single year because I'd learned not to work hourly. I'd learned to work commission-based. Now, commission-based is still work. It's not the same as the real estate. See, that real estate was pulling that $24,000, whether I showed up or not, whether I worked an hour or not. Show of hands for catching the difference. That was generating income. I was still working, but I wasn't working hourly. So I'd shifted from, we'll call it employed to self-employed. So now I was able to make that money. Who here has read the purple book? One of the foundational five. It's book number 1 of the foundational 5, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Oh yeah. So that book showed me the cash flow quadrant, which we're talking about right now. So the concept of hitting the business owner and investor mark, I skipped business owner. I shifted right into investor, right? Owned that real estate. This is where I want you to start thinking about. So we're going to pull out a paper, pen and paper. We're going to do a little activity together. I want you to look at the hours you have in a day that you're willing to work. And then I want you to look at what you're currently earning from. And then I want you to look on the third side. So 3 sections. On the third side, I want you to look at what you're earning from that doesn't involve you, that doesn't have any hours. I want you to apply hours to the 2 tasks. So you've got hours you can work. Let's say you can work 16 hours a day. And then on the second one is how many hours you're actually actively working. And then the third one is how many hours you have an asset working for you. Well, you're not working, but the asset is earning for you. So it should be, if it's a true passive asset, there should be a 0 there. And that money is coming in from that asset regardless. So the first hour is how many hours you have to work, 16. And then the second section is how many hours you are actively putting in work and what that job is, like what that's pulling in for you. And then the third column is your passive income. So you just write your passive income, and then the amount of hours that you're working for, it should be 0. If it's not 0, you may be a real estate owner. It could be 2 hours a month or 2 hours a week. It could be 4 hours a week. It depends on how active you are in your real estate, how much real estate you own. When I had 22 units and I was actively managing by myself before I brought my manager in, I was putting in about 4 hours a week in my passive real estate stuff. So I want you to look at this as a weekly gauge and draw these. So you draw a line, 2 lines down the center with a section of 3 columns. Column 1 is your hours that you're willing to work in a week. Column 2, again, is the hours you're currently working. And above that, I want you to pull in your weekly rate. Put that number, your weekly rate there. And then the column 3 is your passive income. And then underneath it, the amount of hours you're working for your passive income. Ideally, it should be 0, but if you own a business or you own real estate, it is possible that you're still putting in some hours to keep the plate spinning. Show of hands, business owners, if you know what I'm talking about, sometimes you gotta have a call with the team, right? It still counts. Those hours count. Same with real estate investors. Even that call with your property manager, if it's 30 minutes a week or an hour a week, that counts as time managed in the asset. If you're down there collecting rents for yourself, like my buddy Steve Cutt was doing for quite some time, then those hours count. So looking at this page, show of hands if you got this written down. Exercise, you understand it. Now, the goal for you over the next few weeks is to start seeking out things you can put on that passive investment side. I don't want you to change anything about the active side. I don't want you to change anything about the hours you have available. I want you to go and start looking at what can I add that will increase the amount of income that I'm making over here on this third column. And how do I get that third column to increase the amount of income to be more than the second column? Because the second column, remember, that's what you're working for. That's your hourly rate. It's what you're putting in every single week to get to that number. And you want to transfer that dollar amount over to the other side. And then you want to get that middle column to as close to 0 as possible. Now, if you're a wealth builder, you're probably still going to spend some time in acquiring assets that build wealth and acquiring assets that generate income without you. Things like real estate, or in business, things like salespeople or sales managers, or maybe marketing people or marketing managers, or marketing assets, or sales assets, or acquisition of a big, huge deal. I recently locked down a $75,000 deal for Alchemist Connect. I haven't tied it all in, but we're working in the negotiations. That was worthy of my time. Show of hands if that makes sense. It was that's a $75,000 relationship. We bring them in, we do some custom code for them, they're happy, and now we also get a product out of that I can offer to our community because their services are what they want is very similar to something that many of you want. That's worthy, that's fine, that's active hours. But if I look at the active hour rate, maybe I we'll call it 7 hours into that relationship. you're talking about a $10,000 an hour job. Show of hands if you could swing a job like that, if you could see the return on something like that. So it still makes sense to have active time in the mix, but the rate you get paid should be significantly higher. The reason this principle is a game changer is because nobody, even the people who know, and many of you know, show of hands if you've read the books, right? You read the Foundational Five, you know the wealth principles, you know the laws of money, you know that you've got to buy assets that work without you. Even with that knowledge, sometimes we get trapped on the income wheel again. We go back and we're looking at income, got to bring in income. This is what is the second part that I want to talk to you about. The difference between income and wealth. The difference between being rich and being wealthy. So rich people, they drive fast cars. They have nice watches. They have sweet suits, and they eat out every single night. But they own no assets. They have high income, and they can just keep rotating that income, and their lives look exciting and fun, and they're on vacations all the time, and their Instagram accounts are a badass. Show of hands if you know who I'm talking about. These rich people, right? They have a lot of fun. And then you've got wealth. Wealth is quiet. Wealth is silent. Wealth you would never know because it doesn't dress a certain way. It doesn't act a certain way. Wealth has silence to it. But a man could have 10 million or 20 million, or a woman could have $50 million worth of real estate and assets working for them and never drive a fast car, never have the watches, never have the suits, never fly on private jets or go on vacations, because they have all of the freedom in the world. They do what they choose to do based on what they enjoy the most, which is probably spending time with their family, spending time with their friends, investing in experiences, but not necessarily putting it out into the world because they value their time and their privacy more than other people's praise and attention. Show of hands if you understand, true wealth is peaceful. True wealth is a calm state. It's a state where nobody's messaging you in the DMs all the time, asking you questions, right? True wealth is a very calm, peaceful state. And so they're harder to find, these wealthy people, because they don't put it out there. Show of hands if you know what I'm talking about. Right? True wealth could be walking right on the side of you. I've had a woman, I was in the gym the other day, and this woman asked me, she said, "You're a millionaire?" Because she found me on Instagram. She's like, "Yeah, we just whatever, switch Instagrams." She's like, are you really a millionaire? I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "What are you doing here?" And why are you in this gym? And I told her it's because it's the closest one to my house. That is why I'm here. And she said, "Yeah, but you know, you're so rich. Like, why wouldn't you go to a more private gym?" Because honestly, I like to blend with normal people. Rich doesn't change the fact that you like to just go work out in a gym full of people. I don't like working out in a silent room. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Show of hands, have you ever done that before? No noise, nothing in the room. It's like, but with a bunch of people working out, I get amped up. I get juiced. And so that's why I'm here. And although she accepted my response, she couldn't grasp it because wealth is so hidden. Wealth is so quiet. We never see what wealth looks like. We always see rich. We always see rich. We see the rappers, right? We see the supermodels. We see the celebrities. We see the rock stars. We see those Instagram influencers, but they don't have assets. We've seen them lose their shit. Show of hands, you've seen them lose all their money, and then they're like Mike Tyson for a little while. It's like just showing up in commercials that make no sense. Ended up in movies, getting shit roles. It's like, what happened to that guy? You know, dude is a beast, and now he's doing talk shows all the time to like try to build something up. That is what happens when you don't buy assets. And then you got other guys, right? People who just crushed it. Vanilla Ice, right? Vanilla Ice is a real estate investor, like hardcore real estate investor. Dude owns so much real estate that like it's mind blowing because he went and took all of his time and all that wealth he had and he stored it in a real estate. He bought real estate, he bought real estate, he bought real estate. And if you look at Vanilla Ice right now, he's a capital raiser for real estate investments, for large multifamily complexes. Show of hands if you understand, not everybody does the deal. Yeah, Mitch Jorsky, Vanilla Ice flips houses in his hometown. That's the truth. That's crazy. So what I want you to think about in this next section, and I'm going to have Doug do just a little meditation with us if he can. So if you haven't met Doug McGurk, he is the man, the myth, the legend behind Tony Robbins. So, okay, that was a little intense, but he coached for Tony Robbins for 3 years. And I like to think that Tony learned a few things from Doug. I know Doug learned a lot from Tony while he was on tour with him, helping him serve his community. Now, one of the things that Doug learned from Tony was how to help a person see what their future looks like. and then the real future, not the one that we're just making up or visualizing, like hopefully it works, but the real future that you're going to work towards, he's able to help you see that clearly. And it's the one with passive income in it. Show of hands if you could use a little clarity around that yourself, if you could use some of that visualization where you could see your passive assets. So Doug is a real estate investor, which helps. It helps that he knows what passive income looks like. He knows what real estate properties under management by other people look like. Even though he currently does manage his own, we love him for that. Same with Mitch Jaworski, manages his own, but eventually, well, he has a partner that does it, sort of. So Doug's going to walk us through a little session. He also recently created hypnosis tracks. Now, for those of you who are afraid of hypnosis, I remember being afraid of being rich also. And for those of you who want to just cheat the system and skip ahead, we can call it meditation. We can call them guided meditations. These meditations will help you transition your mind into thinking like a rich person so you can take rich person activities. There's this guy, Andrew Tate, who has a very similar look as me. He knows how to shave his head just like me. He can fight people pretty strongly. So I like to think that his belief system on this particular topic is right. Most of his other stuff is wrong. But I will say that he says this thing very honestly is that what you think about, you will attract, like you will do. Like if your thoughts are in the right place, then you will do the right things. But if you're not thinking properly, then you're going to end up with whatever you've been getting. Show of hands if you're tired of the results you've had. You like new thoughts, new things installed. So with that being said, Doug, if you don't mind walking us through a little meditation to generate income. If you are driving, by the way, if you are driving your vehicle, please keep your eyes on the road. If he says close your eyes, he does not talk to you. You keep your eyes going forward because we want to see you survive this. You can come back. This is all live streamed on Facebook. For now, this season may be the last season that we stream live, by the way. I just want to put out there that this may become something that's internal to Alchemist Nation because we're really looking to level up the community and serve at a higher level. And it may be something that we take away from Facebook. Show of hands if you understand. Exclusivity helps the inner circle. It helps the people within the tribe. Absolutely. So if you're on camera right now, you're safe. You're good. Trust me, you're deep in it with us. And for those of you who are on the outside, I apologize. There's not much I can do for you other than say, I should have gotten to you sooner. I didn't. This is what life does. So Doug, without further ado, let's give Doug McGurk, the Maximizer, a big round of applause.
Thank you. So can you make me a co-host so I can share some audio?
Bro, that is such a good idea.
There we go. I got it. All right. Share the computer audio. All right. So let's give Gualter a hand. Come on. Very nice. And by the way, welcome Dorina back. We missed you. I know you're always here in spirit. So with all that being said, yeah, why don't, let's see, let's get some music going here. Can you hear that? All right. I'm going to close my eyes like this. All right, so let's begin, shall we? And as you find a comfortable position, and you're very likely sitting in your chair and you close your eyes, take a deep cleansing breath in now. And as you exhale, allow yourself to relax completely. And with every breath you take, imagine a wave of relaxation washing over your entire body. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And as you sink deeper into relaxation, I want you to focus on the idea. Focus on generating income. I focus on generating income. Visualize yourself in a calm, serene setting. Could be a beautiful beach, a peaceful garden, or any place that brings you to a sense of tranquility. And take a moment to soak in the surroundings, noticing the color, the scent, the sound, Now, imagine a golden door in front of you. This door represents your path to generating income, massive, passive income. And with every step you take towards this door, you feel a growing sense of confidence and excitement. As you reach out and open the door, you step into a world of unlimited possibilities. Inside this realm, you discover various avenues to generate income. As you learn all of the variety of ways to generate income through real estate and other opportunities, as you grow your teams and grow your network. See yourself exploring each opportunity with passion and determination. Visualize yourself engaging in activities that align with your skills, your talents, and your interests. Knowing that each endeavor you undertake brings you closer to your financial goals. Millionaire, multimillionaire, pentamillionaire. And as you continue to visualize, feel a deep state of satisfaction and fulfillment with every successful income-generating endeavor. See yourself celebrating each milestone, enjoying the rewards that come with your efforts. And as you are now deeply relaxed in a receptive state, ready to accept these positive affirmations and afformations that will empower your subconscious mind. And as you connect even more to your higher power, repeat the following affirmations in your mind or out loud, allowing the words to sink deeply into your being. I am open to receiving abundance and wealth in my life. I effortlessly attract opportunities to generate income. I am worthy of financial success and prosperity. I take inspired, massive action towards my financial goals. I am grateful for the abundance that flows into my life. And now, let's use some affirmations. Why am I so skilled at generating massive passive income? Why do I attract lucrative opportunities with grace and ease? Why am I deserving of financial abundance and freedom? Why do I effortlessly manifest wealth and prosperity? Why am I so grateful for the continuous flow of money into my life? Now, take a moment to bask in the energy of abundance and financial success and freedom. Feel the excitement and gratitude welling up within you, knowing that your subconscious mind or your other than conscious mind is now aligned with your conscious desires. When you're ready to return to your usual state of awareness, we will slowly count from 1 to 5. And with each number, feel your mind becoming more alert, your body revitalized, and your senses awakened. 1. As you get more present, 2. Even more connected to your purpose and your passion. 3. Coming back to the present moment. 4. Your greatness. 5. That's right. Open your eyes. Feeling refreshed, feeling empowered, feeling ready to embrace your true nature of a millionaire and beyond.
Let's give Doug McGurk a big round of applause. If that was powerful for you, I know there's a few people dropping in the chat. Can we get access to those hypnotic tracks? The answer is yes. Doug sent me a link that I already lost. And so, Doug, if you can drop that link again in the chat, and also if you could send it to me via WhatsApp, I will make sure that I create a blog post today, almost immediately after this call, so that it gets done. Let's give Doug one more round of applause. Let's give yourselves a round of applause for being involved in that exercise. Every principle that we do has a book attached to it, so you can get more depth on the principle, so you can get a little deeper involved in how to interact it with your world, because as we know, knowledge is power, like a battery. And every Tesla has a battery in it, but without the vehicle, the battery is just a big, heavy lump of lithium that has charge, but doesn't have any direction. So the vehicle, which is real estate, vehicles are something that can get you somewhere. Show of hands if you understand. We want to generate income, which means we need a passive income vehicle like real estate or a business to get us to that next level, but it is useless without the driver. The vehicle, a Tesla sitting in the garage, is just a bunch of power, knowledge with a vehicle like real estate that isn't being driven. And the only way to get yourself to where you want to go is you have to get into that driver's seat, and you need to have some guidance to get you there. I use a GPS to drive anywhere that I'm looking to go that I've never been before. And I also use coaches, I use mentors, I use education programs in order to get myself to that next level. I use accountability partners like my business partners, my spouse, to make sure that I'm on track with where I'd like to go. Has anybody ever driven with a passenger who knew where they were going and leveraged their knowledge, their skills to get to that next level? Those are the 3 requirements to be successful and become a multimillionaire: is network, knowledge, accountability. But if you're missing any one of them, well, a 2-legged table doesn't stand. True or true? So the book of the week is something that Mike Shine and myself, we put together a long time ago, almost 4 years ago now, Mike. It's been 3.5 years of doing the wealth principles with the book, so we attach to them. So let's give Michael Shine, the holistic attorney, the closer, the keeper of the books, a big round of applause. Mike, what is this week's book of the week?
This is a great book for the book of the week. You might know it, Gualter. You actually might even know the author. So the book of the week is Broke to a Quarter Million by Gualter Amarelo. And first of all, when I went to see Gualter when we used to meet in Fall River, I bought the one on Kindle or whatever, because I just wanted to read it. And then this one that I have, the author autographed it for my daughter, Samantha. And it says, "Samantha, you have the dedication and desire to be very successful. Cheers to your growth and success," and signed by the author. So someday, this is my path to financial freedom. I've got an autographed copy of the original book. So when it's in the Smithsonian and framed, we'll be like, I knew him. I knew that dude. Anyway, it's an amazing book, and I think everybody in this group should read it, because it's really great to know where Gualter came from. Like, if you think that you have struggles and that you can't make it, This is the perfect book because, wow, Gualter had like struggles and had to get over his own mindset and had a partner who wasn't, I mean, that's like the biggest thing I take away. She was not on the same page as him. And like I was saying before we jumped on the full call, this is all about wisdom. So like Walter is who he is today because of all the crap that he went through in this book. And I fully believe that that's just wisdom for him. Sorry, Natasha, it's called Broke to $250,000. And I don't think he'd be with the wonderful Dorina right now if he didn't have all that wisdom about what you don't want. But for the investors here, the people who haven't pulled the trigger or the people who are afraid or analysis paralysis, it just shows that you can start broke. Like he was in debt. He wasn't even at zero. He was in debt and he crushed it. And this is the man who's with us today. And I know it's his life, so maybe it wasn't fun for him, but it's a fun read for us. It's like entertaining. And I had read it soon after I met Gualter, and it really kind of solidified that this was a guy that I wanted to hang with, know, like, and trust. So yeah, it's a great book, and it really shows you what possibility means and how you can go from broke to $250,000. And I'm begging him for the sequel so we can learn the Dorina years and all about going from $250,000 and how he got 24 condos for $35,000, and he's now selling one of those condos for $185,000. I'm doing the closing. Thank you, Gualter. But yeah, he's a rock star, and this is a great book, and it's such a good book to just encourage you to go chase your dreams. So that's what I got for you. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause. He's the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. And it's a powerful principle to attach the lesson we do each week with the book of the week. And my suggestion, as with all books, is to get the audio version. This one I actually read to you, and the audio version has a secret chapter. It has an extra 18 minutes that, after getting all the feedback from the people who read it originally, they said, well, could you add this? Could you add this? Could you add this? So on the audio version, I did go back and create an additional chapter with over 18 minutes of value. I also jump out of the book from here and there to tell a little bit more depth and a little bit more story. Show of hands if you've listened to the audio version and you know what I'm talking about. There's like a little bit extra that I give away in that. So my suggestion is listen to on audio, as I say with all the books. This way you can get it done. This book is about 3 hours on audio. And if you speed me up to double the speed, I sound like the Chipmunks. So for some of you, that may be fun. After the book of the week, we dive into questions, Q&A. I think that's one of the most valuable aspects of an investment company like us, a community of people who want to build and get to that next level, is being able to ask questions from people who've been there. Currently, there are over 5, 6, 7 millionaires on the call. So you may get millionaires who are answering some of your questions. Show of hands if that's valuable to ask people who already have been there, know what they're talking about. Absolutely. And by the way, as you're reading the book this week, as you're reading Broke to $250,000, the point is not to work, it's to generate income. If you could go write a review on Amazon, mostly that gets me a digital high five, which I genuinely appreciate. And it also helps other people who are reading the book, potentially think about it. If they see a bunch of reviews from good, genuine people that are not all the same, it's like, hey, this is what I actually pulled out of the book. So please read it before you write a review, not just, hey, I know Gualter's an awesome guy. Like, actually read the book, pull something out of it, and share what you learned. This way, your review is valuable, and people can look at you and say, thank you for that review. As we go into this Q&A session, I want you to dig deep. Find something that's really stopping you. Find something that's holding you back. And if you could just get that one answer, and I asked this question to the people who've paid me over $10,000 to be part of the mastermind every single month. What's the one thing stopping you from becoming a millionaire this month? What's the one thing stopping you from becoming a millionaire this month, so we can pull it out of the way? And those are the questions that we're afraid to ask. They're the ones that are emotional, the ones that we're scared to ask somebody. But imagine if you had that answer. Imagine if you knew the answer to that thing that was stopping you from making $1 million. Maybe it would be possible if you answer enough of those, because, by the way, every level has another devil. Every question leads to the next question and eventually leads to the right answer that you're seeking. Well, what if you ask them all? Would you theoretically be able to make $1 million in a month? I have now made $1 million in more than 1 month. I've now made $1 million in more than 1 month in a row, which has been one of the big things that was on my agenda. This year, by the end of this year, my goal is to be able to establish a monthly revenue number of $1 million a month. And I'm doing that through helping others. I'm doing that through building these Alchemist Nation communities. It's 300 cities that we're serving. And right now we're only serving 40. So I'm looking to 10x our level of servitude, the locations we're serving. And then I'm looking to put 10 trusted team members instead of just one in each one of those locations so we can serve at that 10x level of 10x. Show of hands if you understand, 300 is a lot, but 300 times 10 is 3,000 people who are committed to building 100 millionaires, which gives us a much higher leverage point for us to serve at a higher level. It also gives you access to 300 different cities you could invest in, raise capital in, find deals in, have boots on the ground in. So it's a really cool mission that serves my ultimate goal of being a useful human being on this planet and leaving something behind, and also helps you do the same. Before we dive into the Q&A session, Mitch Jorsky, can we get a quote of the week, like a rap quote of some sort, something inspirational?
I suppose we can do that.
Mitch Jorsky is the author of the book Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing. He
Yeah,
is
I got that
also
somewhere
our
floating
authority.
around on my desk. There's so many books all these weeks. But yeah, I got this one. It's in there still. Might have to update that one too, along with the crypto book. Yeah, the point is to generate income, right? Not to keep on working. And that's what happens to people that essentially do not pay attention to their financial picture, their financial future. They essentially sleep on it. And you don't want to sleep on that because, as Nas once said, sleep is the cousin of death. So don't sleep on that financial future, because basically it just means your financial life is slowly dying as you collect that paycheck. Got to create that passive income, create those income streams. You don't need 7, but that is the average number of streams from millionaires. But it starts with 1. So whether it's real estate or whatever it is you find, get number 1 going. Don't sleep on your financial future. Otherwise, it will be the death of it.
Give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. Again, he's running the mentorship program for us now. He is the author of the book, Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing and Scaredy Cat Guide to knowing what the heck Bitcoin is. Michael Shine, I see you got a question, but I'm going to let Stephen Beaver manage the question session. So go ahead, Mike, or you got a statement?
Yes, so I'm going to answer a question that nobody asked, first of all. But actually, let me just follow up with what Mitch said. So I have an Excel chart that has, for Brenda and I, has 32 streams of income. Okay. And some of these streams of income have not started yet. They're just opportunities that I've seen, but you put them down on your list because you act as if, and I'm sure Doug can add way more to this, but if you act as if whatever you want is already happening, and I do that by putting it down on my streams of income. I mean, even if it's something like you make $5 off an affiliate link, put it down, because the energy of money is the same for a button as it is for a castle. It doesn't matter. So if you're making $5 a month doing it that way, I highly recommend just putting it down. And anything you want in the future, if you hear about like maybe a 3-family that you want to buy and it's going to bring in $1,500 a month, just put it down. And then next year, when you look back, you'll be like, holy shit, I ended up getting that 3-family. It came from the vortex and now it's in reality. So that's it. So that was point number 1. But point number 2, Gualter's book, the subtitle is this week's lesson. It's the point is not to work, it is to generate income. And because the United States was founded by Puritans coming over, it was always Puritan work ethic. So I think that we spend a lot of time saying, oh, if I'm not working, then if I'm not killing myself working hard, I feel guilty. But that is such a liberating, really think about that phrase. The point is not to work, it's to generate income. If you can get away from the guilt of not, digging ditches all day, you can make a lot of money without working. It's all out there for you. So take that serious. I would even write it down and put it on your mirror. You know, find ways and things will come to you, because you can't trade hours for dollars. It doesn't work. You only have 24 hours. So that's huge. The point is not to work, it's to generate income. That's what I got.
Give Michael Shine a round of applause. Go ahead, Stephen. Run this Q&A session, brother. And for those of you who don't know who Stephen is basically leading the 3,000 team members that we're building, the trusted team that we're building. He's making sure that they know how to serve and build millionaires. He's working with Billy Router to build the millionaire process. The millionaire process, by the way, has 3 steps. We're probably going to be releasing that very soon. Many of you who've been with us for a long time know about names on deeds. Show of hands if you're familiar with that process. Buy real estate, names on deeds. The other one is wealth stacking. Show of hands if you're familiar with wealth stacking, something I teach at the summit every year. Excellent. And then the third one, this is where Steven's really coming in with Billy, is the trusted team. And Mike Shine's probably going to have some input on that as well, because he's great with partnerships and he's built his own teams and he's part of the trust team. He's an attorney. You need them for closing. The trusted team is the part that I think our process was missing, and how we're now able to take over these 300 cities and just really have massive impact. So the millionaire building process, 3 steps. It's your trusted team, it's your names on deeds, and wealth stacking. And we're documenting the whole thing so it's super easy to understand. It's simple to understand. It's dialed down to a small little graph, but obviously the process is complex. And at the summit, we'll be revealing more of what we're doing this year to make sure that your local community is building millionaires with you. And at the same time, we also are lining up some of our speakers. So I want to give, it's Gary Akers' birthday today. So I want to let Gary know in front of everybody here that if he brings 20 to 30 people at the summit this year, he'll be speaking on stage about how to run our events. Let's give Gary Aker a big round of applause. And let me take back that qualification. Regardless of whether he brings 20 or 30 people, he's speaking on stage at the 100 Millionaires Summit this year to teach how to run these events to build millionaires, because he wore the right shirt today. Let's give him a big round of applause. So congratulations, Gary. Happy birthday, man. Steven, take it away, bro. Let's do some Q&A. Also, Doug's hypnotic tracks, if you are interested, they can be accessed on Alchemist Nation. I'm going to write a blog article today. They are not for free, by the way. This is an expensive product if you're not looking to get to the next level. It is certainly a lot of money if you don't care about moving into real estate and just wiping out all the past programming. If you want to take advantage and to like speed up your results, though, yeah, hypnosis is how I did it. Doug is the only person I would trust to do Alchemist Nation tracks. He is better, even more so than me. He has far more experience in hypnosis than I do. He has far more experience leading meditations than I do. He and I are both certified. He's multiple certified. So the way he does it, it's always positive affirmations, no negative or garbage. Please don't go to YouTube and try to find hypnosis sessions. 97% of the stuff on YouTube is shit. It's garbage. Somebody who learned just enough to be dangerous. And a lot of the program they put out there is their own negative mindset. And they don't know they're doing it. And so they're good people just trying to do a good thing, but they're doing it wrong. Show of hands if you understand the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Excellent. So his hypnosis tracks, I think there's 13 in total, Doug. Is that accurate? Coming soon will be 13.
And growing. I think there's 13 up there now. I'm still adding.
And some of those titles are to eliminate procrastination. They are to acquire real estate, passive income, abundance. So there's some really powerful tracks. It's $9.97 for those in Alchemist Nation. If you're not in Alchemist Nation, well, then it's the ultimate price. You don't know about it, and so you can never buy it. Show of hands if you understand how dangerous not knowing things is. Absolutely. It's the ultimate price. So I will.
I'll quickly read off the titles that are up there now. Just let it go. I'll go real quick. Abundance Manifesting Generator, Boundless Motivation and Energy, Success Mindset, Wealth Mindset Master, Overcoming Procrastination, Resilient Entrepreneurial Spirit, Overcoming Limiting Beliefs for the Real Estate Agent and Investor, Market Insight Wizard, Property Analysis Guru, Creative Financing Genius, Fearless Negotiation Dynamo, Networking Powerhouse, and Connecting to Your Higher Powers. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 up there now. And I think I have another 3 that will be going up soon.
Let's give Doug McGurk a big round of applause. Once you own these, they are yours for life. And it is a powerful experience to be able to skip ahead and just have the programs that you know you need, especially creative financing genius and going into networking events, be able to explode in those networking events, being confident. If you're an introvert, these tracks will help you be an extrovert when needed. Not all, don't worry, not all the time, just when needed. You'll know how to switch on the bug. So I am a huge fan of Doug's hypnosis, but not all hypnosis is created equal. So yeah, be careful out there. If you are using tracks that are hypnosis or guided meditation, just please make sure that you've vetted the people who are doing them. Listen to them while you're awake before listening to them and letting them go deep with you. Just because not everybody is created equal. Some people know just enough to be dangerous. Sorry, Stephen, we just totally blew up your Q&A session with answering some of the questions in the chat.
With value, you can blow up my Q&A session anytime you want when you're doing it with value. I'll take that. Matter of fact, let's give Doug and Gualter a huge round of applause for that, because that is huge. Just in case you're wondering, 95% of everything up here is actually controlled by your subconscious. So what Doug did was he got into your subconscious and helped your subconscious guide your conscious. Your conscious doesn't really make that many decisions. I would argue the fact that even though it says it's making decisions, it's still following the lead of the subconscious. So it's important. And so the best investment you can make is not in real estate. Sorry, Gualter, have to say it. It's up here.
Okay,
It's up here.
Benjamin Franklin said it, and so did that physicist that everybody knows, E equals
Albert
MC
Einstein?
squared. That guy said it too.
Oh, yeah, that guy. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, first, let me just ask, who wants to have at least one additional form of income? Raise your hand if you'd like at least one, right? All right, 7 we're not even go to. I'm going to give you, most of us here have kids. I'm going to hit you on a kid level. 95% of all learning is done by mimicry. So if you ain't going to do it for you, do it for your kids. Your kids, if you tell your kids to be respectful to the old people, and then you cut in front, open the door, and go in before the old person, they see that, they do that. Doesn't matter what you say. So do it for your kids. Now, if you don't know, if you want to start them young, I met this guy, Jeff Creeley, used to be a newscaster, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, his kid wrote a book, The Kidpreneur, Genius Ways for Kids to Pay Their Way Through College. So don't get it for you, get it for your kid. And these kids, some of them are making the money. I'm not talking like, lemonade stand. I'm talking like a career, right? That's literally, they're making more money than their parents were. So if you're not going to do it for you, do it for your kids, right? And if you don't have kids, do it for the person that's walking by and says, well, that bald-headed guy, he seems like a really cool guy. I don't know why. I want to be like him someday, or at least have that attitude, right? You don't know the butterfly effect is what I'm saying. So my question for everybody is, in chat or unmute, what is it that you want to do to create your first or your next stream of income? You've got 7. Let's go for 8. First to unmute does win. And this is a community project. So what is it that you want? Is it multifamily? Is it a single unit? Is it just to do AdvoCare and make $200 more a month because that'll pay for your phone bill and you don't have to worry about that anymore? It starts small and works big. Multifamily, right on, right on. Deborah, what about you?
Actually, I am looking for a duplex or a 5-unit. I mean, I'll take 14, the one that I have. I really want to pitch that one. But right now, I'm looking for a duplex because it'll give me income coming in. That will be my first rental property, actually. And then I can stand up more to the community that I'm building, that's a mixer that I do. So that's what I'm actually looking for, to gain income property. So when I do my mixer, I already present myself as an investor anyway, without any property, because I know I'm just right around the corner from achieving that goal.
Awesome.
So right now, that's my basic goal.
The basic goals are the great goals. Big round of applause. And let me just ask, When Doug was going through his meditational stuff, were you thinking about that?
Oh, don't play with me, Stephen. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second. Let me tell you about when Doug was going. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me tell you when Doug was going through his thing. Actually, I really needed that because I've been going through a little something, drastic with two of my grandchildren, but we overcame that. So Doug, I really needed Doug this morning. So I actually was so serious about Doug that I actually videotaped myself on my tablet of Doug. So I have that already recorded with myself meditating. I set my camera up. So yeah. So thank you, Doug. Kudos to you because I needed that.
That
So yeah.
was smart. I wish I'd have thought of that. Give Deborah a big round of applause. All right, everybody. She just hacked Doug. I don't know if that's legal or not, but she did it. She's going to beg for forgiveness instead of ask for permission. I love that. I love that. Right on. All right. So, yeah, and we've got duplexes, triplexes, all the above. So you manifest it by saying it, right? The person that starts talking about it the most is going to get it the most. All right. I'm thinking that we are 4 minutes away. Jim Lee Gualter has some lovely words of wisdom at the very end. I want to give him that time because I'm trying to keep him to start on time, to end on time. So
Give Stephen Beaver a round of applause. He's crushing it and helping the community expand and taking our mission to that next level. And if you've noticed, his speaking has become much better. He's not saying the word he's not saying the word all right. He has been working very, very hard on increasing and improving his speaking in these sessions. So let's give him one more big round of applause. It's amazing to see somebody like change that much, just radically something they've done their entire lives and make that shift, which reminds me that you're capable of the same thing. So even if your entire life you've operated as, like I did for 10 years, a $40,000 a year person, or a 50 or 60 or some sort of set income, or maybe you're in a toxic relationship and you've always stayed that way because it was what you were familiar with and comfortable with, or maybe you just never had those conversations with yourself, said, maybe I am a real estate investor. Like Deborah's saying, look, I may not have it today, but I know I am. Maybe you can change the past. Maybe you can change your old story and shift it to a new story. Maybe you can write that next book. Maybe you can write that next chapter of your life. And the answer is you will never be ready. So it is start now, right? The book Broke to a Quarter Million initially started the next book, which is Beyond a Quarter Million. And my ultimate book, Stick-to-itiveness. These don't exist here in this physical world, but we know that they're coming. They're things that are being written in the moment. Like I said, we've pulled in $2 million this year already for the year. So it's not even the end of July yet. And we've already pulled in over $2 million. And we got the rest of the year to pull in significantly more income, which means that the work I did 3 years ago to acquire these assets, to build these businesses that we're now cashing in on today, it was worth millions and millions of dollars. Show of hands if you understand the work you're doing today is worth millions. It's worth significantly more than what the appearances are, than what it feels like in the moment. When I acquired those condos, which we will be talking more about, when I acquired those at $35,000 a piece, 24 condos for $840,000, I did not know that they'd be worth $4 million 3 years later. It wasn't even a thought of mine. It was simply that at the time they were worth 2.4 million. And I was getting $1.5 million in equity on day one. That was where my head was at. That was the size of the win, but the win became significantly greater over time because that's the compound effect of real estate, of owning assets. The cash flow at the time, the rents generated were $18,000 at the time. Now those same units are generating double those rents because we picked them up at $650 rent, $650 a month, $700 a month, and now those rents are $14,000 and $16,000 a month. Show of hands if you understand. Things have changed in 3 years. A lot can change if you take the actions today. The deal at the time was still a great deal, but it didn't feel like a great deal because it was so behind in the rears on some of the projects that had been happening. Like there was so much delayed renovations. There was things like the condo association was defunct, behind in money, bad management. There was so many problems with it. So at the time, it didn't feel like a great deal. It felt like a scary deal. It felt like the sort of thing that could take us out of the game. But we did it anyway, and we pushed through it, and we found ways to solve and fix problems. And now when we talk about that deal, people say, oh my God, like you got so lucky. No, we were scared of shit the whole time. We were terrified every single day that we had that property under agreement, every day until we closed. And every day after closing, we're like, okay, now we're going to find out what's really wrong with this thing. And it just never showed up. It never came out. The thing that was really wrong with it never happened. It was just perception. It was just enough problems stacked on top of each other to be a terrifying deal. And we just took out these small problems and eventually had a really great asset. Show of hands if you understand you can do the same with your life. There may be things in your life right now that feel that way, that feel like they're not serving you, that they're not working for you, but you can tackle them one at a time, one habit at a time, make those changes, make those shifts. And slowly over time, a year from now, by the way, it's been 196 days of the year of leg day. I now can officially squat 215 pounds effortlessly for 12 reps, which I previously could not do. I couldn't do 135 pounds effortlessly for 6 reps. And now it's perfect form, on track, on par, and I feel great. And it was a year ago, full year to the day, to like this month of July, that I started going to the gym. I hadn't gone to the gym consistently for 6 years. And I have not missed a single day of working out for an entire year, 365 days now. And these things feel great. I feel great. But day one did not feel great. Show of hands if you understand how day one feels. It sucks, right? So you've made progress. The last year, no matter what you've been doing, you've made a lot of progress. I want you to do a Facebook Live today and share some of that progress. I want you to do a 30-second video or 5-minute video or a 10-minute video, whatever's on your heart. Just pull out the phone, look at it, and share the progress that you have made over the last 365 days. Some things may seem small. Some things may seem big. If you're really smart about it, though, you'll point out the fact that you're acquiring passive income, passive assets. You'll talk about the point is not to work, it's to generate income. A year ago, you realized that. A year ago, you started moving on this track. In the beginning, you didn't have anything. And then you had all the skill sets and you acquired this network. Like Gary Aker built the strong network he has. Now he's getting deals. He's getting capital. He's getting people. He's getting the ability to go and lock things down that he didn't have a year ago. Each one of you has made tremendous strides. So I want you to do a quick little Facebook Live that talks about your journey. This will help you in 3 things. 1, it'll help bring capital to you. 2, it'll help bring people who could do deals with you. And 3, it'll help bring you properties. Show of hands if you understand the importance of all 3: deals, money, labor. It's necessary to build this business. So I'm going to ask you to do this Facebook Live. You can tag me in it. Put it out where it can be seen. Put it out on your profile. Don't just hide it in small little groups unless those groups are super niche and they have everything you're looking for. But put it out somewhere that can be seen. Share with others what you're doing and how far you've come, because people are most attracted to those who are advancing. For the man or woman who is advancing their lives, because they know by associating with that man or woman that they're going to find advancement as well. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. I'll see you next week. Let's give Stephen Beaver and the team one more big round of applause. All the millionaires who donate their time with us, thank you so much for everything you've done, everything you will do, and everything you continue to do. I'll see you on the next one.
Mitch. Hey, Walter, hold on, Mitch, really quick. I'm going to use your